Today we're going to cover the kingdoms of Africa. Egypt, we have discussed in class, was one of the main kingdoms of Africa, but it was not the only one. There were three additional ones that we're going to discuss today: Ghana, Nubia, and Mali. Each one of these play an important role in the African history, and each one of these are a little bit different in their own way. So let's start today's lesson with Ghana. Ghana today is in between the Niger and the Gambia River. It is on the southwestern border of Africa. It is right here. In ancient times, 300 to 1100, it came up right in this area. It kind of stretched its borders a little bit more. It was called Ouagadougou. Ouagadougou, it basically translates into war chief. They are known for their war techniques. The main resources that they had their hands on were salt and gold. Now, we know the story of gold. We know that gold is a precious commodity. If anybody can get their hands on gold, they are set, just about. But what about salt? Salt is a resource that we don't know much about. But salt is a resource that you need to have. Salt you need for food. You need it to ice roads, to preserve stuff, for a variety of other reasons. And salt, if you get your hands on salt, you got a lot of it. So you can trade with any other area, because every area in the world needs salt for some reason. That is Ghana. Let's talk about Nubia. Nubia is right south of Egypt, runs right on the Nile River line, runs right in this area, and it was Egypt's biggest competitor. Okay, they always were battling over land supremacy. Who took over which area? And one area wanted the other area. Okay, the main resources that Nubia had was gold, copper, and ivory. They were oftentimes at war with each other. There's two most famous instances when they were at war with each other. From 2000 to 1000 BC, Egypt conquered Nubia. Then in 800 BCE to 700 BCE, Nubia conquered Egypt. So one conquered one for 1,000 years, from 2000 to 1000, and then from 100 years, Nubia conquered Egypt. Now the final group that controlled Africa was Mali. Mali today runs right here, but in ancient times, from about the 1300s, it ran right here on the western border of Africa. Today Mali's right here. It runs about like that in ancient times. Now, Mali's story really revolves around a leader. The most famous leader is Mansa Musa. Mansa Musa leads from 1312 to 1337. That's his high point in Mali. He really pushed the salt and the gold trade. Remember the salt trade. But the salt idea was put on the back burner because he had a large amount, almost an endless supply of gold. Okay, almost endless. It was running out of his pockets, running out of his sandals, running out of his cloak, running out of his tunic. He had a lot of gold. Okay, if you had a warehouse, he would need 4 warehouses. In 1324, he decided that he was going to make a pilgrimage to Mecca. Now, you'll learn more about Mecca and Islamic religion and that idea a little bit later on in your schooling career. But Mecca is really the homeland, the main spot that the Islamic religion centers around. Mansa Musa takes a pilgrimage there. On his travels, he had so much gold that in his empire, as he's traveling along, he gives his poor people gold. It turns the poor into rich. Okay? So, as he's giving the poor people more money. The poor people weren't always on Mansa Musa's side because they thought he was rich and arrogant and just kept the money for himself. So he began giving the gold out, and he got the poor on his side. Made him, he basically got more people on his side by giving them money. Okay, so that was the most famous story of Mali. Let's review before we wrap up the kingdoms of Africa. There were 3 kingdoms. You have Ghana in the southwestern part of Africa, or in southwest Africa. You have Nubia, the biggest competitor to Egypt, south of Egypt along the Nile River. And you have Mali, the greatest leader, Mansa Musa, in the western part of Africa. Made a pilgrimage, gave his poor money. You have the salt trade. You have gold, copper and ivory, and you have the gold salt trade as well. Remember, salt is important in 2 of the 3. This ends the Kingdoms of Africa lesson for today.